Okay, we're here with one of our latest builds for Dirt Bike Magazine. And this one is called Clifford, the Big Red Dog, because she's a big old red dog. So 450X wasn't enough, so we went ahead and put the big bore kit on from Cylinder Works, which makes it 478 cc's, and added stage 2 cams. So this thing's pretty gnarly. We built some of these back in late 2000s. We built a few of these, and it was kind of fun. We got a good deal on this bike blown up. This bike was completely blown up. The shock was blown. Everything was wasted on this thing. So we went ahead and went through it and making us a good bike. I think our next step of this bike will probably be making it street legal, at least somewhere. So we're going to get a dual sport kit, get it plated. Tusk has a kit that we're probably going to be using on this. So for right now, this is as far as we went with for Dirt Bike Magazine. These bikes, the benefit of these bikes, if you take care of them, they're really good and strong. This bike is 15 years old. It's an 05, and as you can see, this thing, cleaned up really nice. The engine needed to be rebuilt. We got a wrench rabbit kit in there, rebuilt the entire bottom end, crank, main bearings, everything, and then got the Cylinder Works big bore kit. And then valves and springs, we use stock, I think is all we used in here, because that's the only thing we get a good kit on. Henson clutch to the engine. And then as far as jetting's pretty close to stock, I can list that. We open up the airbox. I have a video that shows you how to open up the airbox and some of those jetting specs that you can check out. So open up the airbox fully and take the backfire screen off the cage. This thing opens up. This thing wants a lot more air. So those are the key things to the engine with the FMF pipe and silencer. So this thing really breathes, blocked off all the smog stuff with applied. Racing has those pieces. So those are the main things with our engine. And this thing now just runs amazing. With our gearing, we have our super sprox. We have a 49 tooth rear with a 13 front gearing. That's probably what we're going to run, and pretty happy with that with the super sprox O-ring chain. ICW does a great job of fixing bent radiators and strengthening them, and that's what we did here, is to strengthen those things out. And they do an amazing job, as you can see. We wanted to have long range on this thing for the trails, and if we do some dual sporting. And so we went ahead and went with the IMS tank. Also, their foot pegs. Pro Moto Billet Fastway has these kickstands, these Kick-It kickstands, which are just second to none. They're really strong, really nice. Really like those. ODI bars and grips, and all of our Works connection pieces. Their perch is just the standard. We have our Tusk brake lines and Tusk rotors and oversized front rotor all around, and the Tusk wheels, of course, with an 18-inch rear wheel. The Dunlop tires, AT81. Good off-road tire, and then Racetech has set the suspension up for us. UFO plastic with Decal Works graphics that match this whole thing. Came out really nice. Stock headlight mask is the one we found that looks nice. Got the stock headlight hooked up. That's all we have right now. We might upgrade that if we go true dual sport. TM Designs got a skid plate and our rear rotor guard and chain guard at the end, and we call it the sliding guide kit, so it goes around the swing arm and the rear guard. All that stuff is TM Design, so it's really strong and bulletproof. Uni filter. This thing's just amazing. So now I'm always on here talking about why 450s are bad, right? And too much. Well, if you're riding fire roads, at least for me, desert, more open stuff, I'm okay with this bike. Just don't want to take it out of my element and being in tight stuff with a big bike. So these bikes, now we wanted this thing to cool really well, so we added the Trail Tech fan. We wanted to keep this, and that's why the radiators, we got oversized radiators on here too. ICW made these a little bit bigger for us. So we wanted this thing to really stay cool in those tighter situations, but we're not going to be taking this on stuff that we would mainly take a 300. Now Spencer might, but I won't. I'll probably stick to the more, dual sporting type, dirt roads and ATV wide trails, and then some shorter, easier single track stuff. I don't want to be lifting this thing around and getting her out, but Clifford is excited and ready to be opened up. So got some good footage here, hopefully, of you seeing us riding this thing and digging it. We're going to have Rado also ride this thing and see what he thinks, if the big red dog scares him at all. So, but we think it's pretty, we built one of these not to this extent like a year ago and didn't use the big bore, just did a high compression and a cam, and it was pretty gnarly, but it was still pretty rideable. It did fairly well in our little trail shootout last summer, so we're looking forward to seeing how this thing runs and stacks up, and we'll report back to you. climbs right up that, right from the stop. That's cool. It really is a little, not a little goat, but a big goat. Clifford. Okay, so we're back out here with this CRF 450X Clifford, the big red dog, 478cc. We're back out here with this thing, like we said, and it's been fun. Spencer, myself, and Rado all got to ride this thing. We're out here with Racer X today out in the desert, just before it's starting to get really hot. It's just a little bit hot, not too bad today, but it's still dry. We got to test these bikes out. And this is Rado's first time, so what'd you think?
I liked it. It's a lot of bike, you know, 478, and it's not a light bike. It's not a light two-stroke where I usually ride on the trails, but it also feels really planted, which I really like going a little bit faster on the open trails, having the planted feeling of 450. It's a plus, so I really enjoyed that. Hill climbs, man, this thing will eat everything you throw at it, so it was really good there. And even for the slower technical stuff, it wasn't too bulky, it wasn't too heavy. This thing didn't really feel like it's in the way. It's not a small bike, but I think I had good time on it, going also through some technical stuff. So overall, a decent package. If I'm on a ride where I need to go fast and I need to ride all day somewhere at Baja or trails like we had today, I think I will have a lot of fun on something like this.
For sure. And so getting back to this was a fun build. We built this thing up like we talked about earlier, all the way up, and we used some great components in this thing. And I did a little video with Rado on his channel and talked about this thing, and I think I'm going to look at dual sport in this thing. I still kind of prefer a fuel injection bike. We tested a few fuel injection bikes today out here, a couple of other bikes. But I got this cool mount that I mentioned, and we're going to look at dual sport in this thing. I think that'll be its good future. So anyway, hopefully you enjoy. We'll see you out in the track or trail soon. What do you say, Rado?
Oh, don't forget, whatever you do, guys, stay motivated.
There you go.